My name is Ethan Carter, and I'm 22 years old. Last summer, in the sticky heat of a Denver suburb, I was hunched over my old bike, grease on my hands, when she walked by. Sophia Bennett, a woman whose presence hit me like a quiet thunderbolt. She was older, maybe in her late 40s, with a smile that felt like it could unravel secrets. "If I were younger, I'd ask for a ride on that bike," she teased, her voice warm and playful. My heart stuttered. I managed a grin, my voice bolder than I felt. "Who says you can't ask now?" She laughed, a sound like wind chimes, and walked on, leaving me staring after her, my world suddenly brighter, stranger, alive. I'd only been in this neighborhood a few months, a sleepy pocket of Aurora, Colorado, where maple trees shade the sidewalks and neighbors nod over white picket fences. My apartment was a gift from my parents for my 21st birthday, a run-down one-bedroom with sagging floors and chipped paint. It was mine, though, and I poured every spare hour into fixing it, sanding walls, patching leaks, wrestling with a temperamental water heater. I didn't have a car, never needed one. My bike, a scratched-up black mountain model I'd had since high school, was my freedom. I knew every gear, every bolt, could fix it blindfolded. That day I was out front, the sun scorching my neck, trying to coax a slipping chain back into place. Sweat stung my eyes, and my fingers were smudged with oil. I was lost in the rhythm of it, wrench, curse, adjust, when her voice broke through. "You're fighting a losing battle with that chain," she said. I looked up, startled, and there she was on the sidewalk, maybe 10 feet away. Sophia wore a white linen dress that caught the breeze, her blonde hair tied loosely, strands dancing around her face. Sunglasses perched on her head, revealing green eyes that sparkled with mischief. She wasn't young, not in the way I was, but there was a vitality to her, a quiet elegance that made my breath catch. I wiped my hands on my jeans, suddenly aware of my messy hair and stained t-shirt. "Yeah, it's got a mind of its own," I said, forcing a smile. She tilted her head, studying me. "If I were younger, I'd ask for a ride." Her tone was light, but her eyes held mine a beat too long, and I felt a jolt, like I'd touched a live wire. Was she flirting? Teasing? I couldn't tell. My mind scrambled for something clever, but all I managed was, "Who says you can't ask now?" She laughed, not mocking, but delighted, like I'd surprised her. "Keep at it, bike guy," she said, and walked on, her steps unhurried. I watched her disappear around the corner, my heart pounding, the chain forgotten. I stood there, wrench in hand, feeling like something had shifted inside me. It wasn't just that she was beautiful, though she was, in a way that felt timeless, like she belonged in a black and white movie. It was her confidence, the way she'd thrown that line at me without hesitation, like she knew exactly how it would land. I shook my head, trying to focus on the bike, but my thoughts kept drifting to her. Who was she? Did she live nearby? Had I seen her before and somehow missed her? The neighborhood was small, the kind of place where people walked their dogs at dusk and kids rode scooters in circles. I'd been so consumed with fixing my apartment, nailing down loose floorboards, painting over water stains, that I hadn't met anyone. I wasn't unfriendly, just distracted, always chasing the next repair, the next paycheck. That night, I sat on my sagging couch, a cold soda in hand, staring at the bare walls of my living room. The apartment was a work in progress, much like me. I'd dropped out of college 6 months earlier, unable to keep up with tuition and rent. I'd been working at an auto shop, saving every dollar to make this place livable. It wasn't much, but it was mine, and that meant something. Still, I felt a hollowness I couldn't name, a sense that I was building a life without knowing what for. Sophia's voice echoed in my head, her playful grin burned into my memory. I wondered what her story was, what made her say something so bold to a stranger like me. I glanced out the window, half hoping to see her walk by again, but the street was empty, lit only by the soft glow of streetlights. Days passed, and I threw myself into my routine: work, repairs, sleep, repeat. I replaced a cracked kitchen tile, fixed a flickering light, and battled a patch of mold in the bathroom. The apartment was slowly coming together, but it felt like I was just filling time. I kept an eye out for Sophia, scanning the sidewalks when I biked to the store or carried trash to the curb. Nothing. Maybe she'd just been passing through, a fleeting moment I'd built up in my head. Still, I couldn't shake her, the way her eyes had lingered, the warmth in her laugh. It was like she'd left a fingerprint on my thoughts. Saturday morning, I was fresh out of the shower, hair still dripping, when a soft knock came at the door. I tugged on a clean t-shirt and jogged to answer it, expecting a delivery or maybe a neighbor complaining about my pile of paint cans. Instead, it was her. Sophia stood on my doorstep, holding a small white box, her hair pulled back, a loose blue blouse tucked into jeans. Her sunglasses were pushed up, revealing those green eyes, now softer, warmer. "Hi," she said, her smile easy but with a hint of nervousness. "I hope I'm not bothering you." My stomach flipped. "No, not at all," I said, stepping back to give her space. "What's up?" She held out the box. "A welcome gift, cookies from the bakery down the street. Figured you haven't had time to explore yet." I took the box, my fingers brushing hers for a split second, and felt that same electric jolt. "Wow, that's really kind of you," I said, caught off guard. "I'm Sophia, by the way," she added. "Most people call me Sophie." I smiled, trying to steady my voice. "I'm Ethan, and yeah, I've been kinda glued to this place." She glanced past me, taking in the half-painted walls and stacked tools. "You've been busy," she said, a teasing edge to her voice. I laughed, relaxing a little. "Yeah, it's a project. Want to come in? I've got coffee." She hesitated, then nodded. "Sure, I'd like that." We sat at my wobbly kitchen table, the box of cookies between us, steam rising from mismatched mugs. The conversation started slow, small talk about the neighborhood, the best local diner. But it flowed easily, like we'd known each other longer than 5 minutes. She told me she lived 2 houses down, in a small craftsman with a garden she tended obsessively. She'd been there 15 years, raising 2 daughters, now 19 and 21, both away at college. "It's quiet without them," she said, her voice softening. "Sometimes too quiet." I nodded, sensing the weight behind her words. "Must be tough," I said. She shrugged, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of pain. "You get used to it, or you try to." I opened up about my own life, surprising myself with how much I shared. I told her about dropping out of college, about the auto shop job that paid just enough to keep me afloat, about the pride I felt in making this apartment my own, even if it was a mess. "It's not perfect," I admitted, glancing at the cracked countertop. "But it's mine." She smiled, a real smile, not polite but warm. "That's something to be proud of, Ethan. Most guys your age wouldn't have the guts to take this on." Her words hit me harder than I expected, like she'd seen a part of me I didn't show anyone. I felt my cheeks flush, and I looked down at my coffee, suddenly shy. We talked for nearly an hour, the cookies half-eaten, the coffee cold. She told me about her ex-husband who left when her daughters were toddlers. "We were kids ourselves," she said, her voice steady but distant. "When it got hard, he bailed. I had to figure it all out. Bills, diapers, broken dreams." There was no bitterness, just a quiet strength that made me admire her more. I told her about my parents, how they'd worked double shifts to buy this place for me, how I felt like I was carrying their hopes on my shoulders. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough," I confessed. She leaned forward, her eyes locking onto mine. "You're doing more than enough. You're building something real." Her voice was soft but certain, and for a moment, I believed her. When she stood to leave, I felt a pang of disappointment. "Thanks for the cookies," I said, walking her to the door. She paused, turning back. "By the way, I meant what I said about that bike ride." Her smile was playful, but there was something deeper in her eyes, like she was testing the waters. I laughed, my heart racing again. "Offer's still open." She shook her head, still smiling, and stepped outside. I closed the door and leaned against it, grinning like an idiot. Something told me this wasn't the last time we'd talk. The next week, I couldn't stop thinking about her. It wasn't just attraction, though I'd be lying if I said that wasn't part of it. Sophie had this way of making me feel seen, like my struggles and small triumphs mattered. I'd catch myself glancing down the street toward her house, a butter-yellow craftsman with roses climbing the porch. I wondered what she was doing, if she was thinking about me too. I felt foolish, like a kid with a crush, but I couldn't help it. She was different, real, grounded, I was unafraid to be sanding a warped porch railing when I heard her voice. "Hey, handyman." I looked up, and there she was, walking toward me, wearing jeans and a beige sweater, a silver necklace glinting at her collarbone. Her hair was loose, catching the sunlight. I stood, brushing sawdust off my hands, my pulse quickening. Just trying to keep this place from falling apart, I said. She laughed, stepping closer. You're doing a good job. It looks better every day. I shrugged, embarrassed but pleased. Still a long way to go. Guess I'm a work in progress. She tilted her head, her eyes softening. Aren't we all? Her words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. I felt a pull toward her, like we were sharing a secret neither of us had named. She bit her lip, hesitating. I hate to ask, but I've got this faucet in my kitchen that's been dripping for weeks. I've tried fixing it, but I'm hopeless. Any chance you could take a look? Her voice was light, but her eyes searched mine, like she was asking for more than a repair. Of course, I said, grabbing my toolbox. Lead the way. We walked the short distance to her house, the air warm and breezy. Her home was everything mine wasn't. Lived in, warm, full of character. The porch creaked under our steps, and flowers spilled over planters. Inside, the kitchen smelled of lavender and fresh bread. Photos lined the walls, her daughter's graduations, school plays, family vacations. It was a house full of love, but also a quiet kind of loneliness. I knelt by the sink, wrench in hand, while Sophie leaned against the counter, arms crossed, watching me. You're good at this, she said after a while. I tightened a valve, chuckling. Necessity's a great teacher when everything you own's falling apart. She laughed, a rich, unguarded sound that filled the room. Still, you're different. Not many 22-year-olds would spend their weekends fixing faucets. I glanced up, meeting her eyes. Not many people would bring me cookies just because. She smiled, and for a moment, the world narrowed to just us, the drip of the faucet gone silent. When I finished, she tested the faucet, her face lighting up when it didn't leak. You're a miracle worker, she said, stepping closer. Not close enough to touch, but close enough that I caught the faint scent of her perfume, vanilla and something floral. My heart thudded. It's no big deal, I said, but my voice was quieter than I meant. She rested her hand on my arm, just for a second, her touch light but electric. It is to me, she said. Let me buy you dinner to say thanks. I blinked, caught off guard. You don't have to. She cut me off, her smile soft but firm. It flush, Ethan. I nodded before I could overthink it. Okay, sure. That Friday, we met at a cozy Italian place a few miles away, the kind with checkered tablecloths and candles flickering in old wine bottles. I wore my best jeans and a clean button-down, feeling out of place but determined to keep it together. Sophie arrived in a navy dress that hugged her curves, her hair swept to one side. She looked effortless, radiant, and I felt a mix of pride and nerves sitting across from her. The conversation started light, favorite foods, funny repair mishaps, but it deepened as the night went on. She told me about raising her daughters alone, the nights she cried herself to sleep, the mornings she forced herself to keep going. An empty house is heavier than you'd think, she said, swirling her wine, her voice soft but raw. I listened, my chest tight, wanting to reach for her hand but holding back. I shared my own struggles, working 2 jobs to afford college, dropping out when the bills piled up, the pressure to prove I could make it on my own. Sometimes I feel like I'm just treading water, I admitted. She leaned forward, her eyes steady. You're not treading water, Ethan. You're building a life. That's more than most people your age can say. Her words landed like a lifeline, pulling me out of my doubts, if only for a moment. We stayed until the restaurant emptied, then walked outside, the night air cool against our skin. She stayed close, our shoulders brushing as we headed toward our neighborhood. At the corner near her house, she stopped, her face lit by a street lamp. Thank you, Ethan, she whispered. Tonight was perfect. My throat tightened. For me, too, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She reached out, her fingers grazing my arm, sending a shiver through me. Good night, she murmured. Good night, Sophie, I replied, my heart pounding as she slipped inside, the porch light glowing behind her. I walked home, my mind a whirlwind. I didn't know what this was, friendship, something more, but I knew I felt alive in a way I hadn't before. Sophie wasn't just a neighbor or a crush. She was a mirror, reflecting parts of me I hadn't seen, and I was starting to think I did the same. I threw myself into work, hammering nails and hauling lumber, letting the rhythm of it ground me. Mia and I saw each other in passing, her watering her garden, me biking to the store. We'd wave, smile, sometimes chat about the weather or her dog, but our secret world was gone, tucked away like a letter in a drawer. I was okay with that. What we'd had was perfect because it was temporary, because we'd let it be what it needed to be. Now, months later, I'm still here, still fixing up my apartment, still riding that same creaky bike. Every time I pass Mia's house, I feel a warmth in my chest, a reminder of what we shared. She taught me that love isn't about forever. It's about showing up, fully, for the moments you're given. It's about finding someone who sees you, who makes you feel like you're enough, even when you're still figuring it all out. Mia gave me that, and I'll carry it always. As I stand on my porch now, looking down the street where Mia's house sits quietly under the Boise sky, I feel a warmth that wasn't there before. Our story, mine and Mia's, isn't just a fleeting romance tucked away in a summer's glow. It's a testament to the people who drift into your life like an unexpected melody, changing the way you hear the world. Mia didn't just teach me about love. She showed me that connection, real connection, is about showing up with your whole heart, even when the timing feels wrong, even when the world might raise an eyebrow. She walked into my life when I was lost in the noise of my own doubts, and she left me brighter, stronger, more certain of who I am. This isn't just about us, though. It's about those rare souls who cross your path and shift something deep inside you. Maybe it's a stranger who said the right thing at the right time, a friend who saw you through your darkest days, or someone who loved you in a way you didn't know you needed. Those moments, those people, they're the threads that weave the story of who we become. They remind us that life isn't about perfection or plans that line up neatly. It's about the courage to feel, to open yourself to someone else, even when the world tells you to play it safe. That's what Mia gave me, a reminder that being vulnerable, being real, is what makes us human. I think about her words, her laughter, the way her hand felt in mine, and I know I'll carry those memories forever. But more than that, I carry the lesson she left behind, that every connection, no matter how brief, has the power to reshape you. It's not about how long someone stays in your life, it's about the light they leave behind. And I want to know, have you ever had someone like that? Someone who stepped into your world, maybe just for a moment, and changed the way you see yourself. Maybe it was a teacher who believed in you when you didn't, a neighbor who listened when you felt alone, or a love that caught you by surprise. Those stories matter. They're the heartbeat of what makes us human, and I want to hear yours. So here's my ask. Drop your story in the comments below. Tell me about that person who made your life brighter, who left a mark you still feel. It doesn't have to be long. Just share what's real. And if you're feeling bold, send your story to The Cheater's Diary through our website, or DM us on Instagram. We're always looking for heartfelt stories to feature in future videos, and yours could be the one that inspires someone else. Imagine your words reaching someone who needs to hear. They're not alone. That connection is possible even in the messiest moments. That's the power of this community we're building, one story at a time. If Mia and I's journey touched you, if it stirred something in your heart, please hit that like button. It tells us you're with us, that these stories matter to you too. And if you haven't already, subscribe to The Cheater's Diary and click that bell icon so you never miss a video. We're not just a channel. We're a place where raw, real stories come to life, where we celebrate the beauty and mess of being human. Every week, we bring you tales of love, loss, and everything in between, and we want you to be part of it. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder that life's unexpected moments can be the most beautiful. Tag us on Twitter or Instagram with hashtag #CheatersDiaryStories, and let's keep this conversation going. Thank you for listening, for letting this story sink into your heart. It means the world to me and to everyone at The Cheater's Diary. We're here because of you, and we can't wait to share the next chapter. I'll see you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep chasing the connections that make you feel alive.